Hey, in this video, I want to talk about something that Coach Prime talks about all the time, which is finishing well. And I want to talk about how knowing the true ending of all things, your ending and my ending, and being confident in how the story ends, actually gives us happiness in this life, even in the hardest times. Let's talk about it.
To say that again, starting strong is good, but finishing strong is epic.
And let's go out there and finish what we started. All right?
Well, it's always important to finish strong. I'm sorry for cutting you off. I'm ready to go. Not home, but ready to go with it. It's always important to finish strong in whatever you endeavor to do. Why would you start if you don't want to finish right?
Regardless of what you think about Coach Prime and his coaching style or his style, he is right. There's no point in starting something unless you're going to finish well. I mean, it is a complete waste of time, a waste of energy, a waste of your whole life to just start things and not finish them well. I mean, life is just too short. It's way too short. And that's why so much of our life, we've got to be able to figure out the things that are really important and do everything within our power to focus on that and finish well. So there's a really great quote that's helped me for many years. It's from a book, it's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Habit number 2, begin with the end in mind. I mean, this book was written by Stephen Covey, decades ago, but it's still relevant today. And his point, begin with the end in mind. Effective people begin with the end in mind. They see where they're going. They have a vision of where they're going, and they set out with that end. And this is incredibly important when it comes to finishing well, because you need to know, where are you planning to finish? So, what end do you have in mind? And are you moving towards that end? I mean, think about just your whole life. Think about, your career. Are you moving towards the end that you have in mind? Are you moving in the direction? You think about, your own physical body. Are you moving towards the end that you have in mind? Are you moving towards the health that you want to be able to have? You think about your finances. Are you moving towards that end? You think about your relationships, maybe in your marriage. Are you moving towards the end? Do you have a vision for where you're going? Think about, your relationship with your kids. Are you moving towards that? Or are you just moving through life? Are you just going through the motions, not really knowing really where you're going, just aimlessly going through it all? I mean, to what end are you moving? You see, here's the problem. This is a quote. This is from a Greek Stoic philosopher. It's a quote that I love. It's from Epictetus, and he says this. He says, "This is our predicament." He's talking about all of humanity. He says, "This is our predicament. Over and over again, we lose sight of what is important and what isn't. We lose sight of what is important and what isn't." And he's so right. I mean, I've experienced that so many times in my life, where I have set out thinking like, okay, like I'm going to start this, and this is good. And along the way, I've forgotten. I've gotten distracted by other things, and I've been aimlessly moving towards it because I've forgotten to what end I'm moving. Like this is a problem. This is all of humanity's problem. But I'll tell you, it's actually even worse than that. Because several thousand years ago, there was a king who realized something. He realized something that was going to later become my problem. It could even be your problem. Is that even when you think you know what you want, sometimes in pursuing those things, you find out later that you don't want it. You end up having buyer's remorse. You end up having like all this regret that you live with. Like, not only do we experience so much distraction and lose sight of what's important, but even when we pursue some things, we end up finding out later there was no happiness in it. So 3,000 years ago, there was this king named Solomon, and he had pursued all kinds of things. He ended up writing about it. He said, I built all of these parks, and I built all of these homes, and I amassed all this gold and silver, and had all these servants. And, I had all these different women. He had sex like all the time. Like, this was like, a big part of his life was just pursuing pleasure, and he said that when I stepped back to look at it all, he says, when I surveyed all that my hands had done and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Like, everything was meaningless. I mean, think about all the things that you pursue in your life. What Solomon's saying is, if you're pursuing all those things, I'm telling you, from my own experience, a lot of it was chasing after the wind. I wasn't actually getting it. Like I kept chasing it and thinking I had it, and it slipped through my fingers. It was gone again. So not only do we lose sight of what is really important, even the things that we sometimes think are really important, we find out later they're meaningless and they don't produce the happiness in life that we want. So, I mean, here's the thing. Everybody wants to finish well. Everybody wants to finish well. The question is to what end are you moving? Like, are you moving to an end that's actually going to end up producing the happiness and the fulfillment and the sense of meaning that you really want? To what end are you moving? You know, and here's what I want to talk about. Listen, until you know the true ending of all things, you will never find happiness in your life. You won't. You will continue to chase it like Solomon, and you'll find out you're chasing the wind. So here's the true ending of all things. The true ending is that the creator of heaven and earth, the God who made the world and everything in it, and everything that we say, everything that we see, he is going to return. He's going to return, and he is going to make all of the wrongs right. He's going to right the wrongs of all the world. Like you are concerned about the evil that's in the world. One day he will make all things right. And then he is going to create all things and make all things new. Like the old things will pass away. This earth will totally pass away, and a new creation will come, a new heavens and a new earth. And in this new heavens and a new earth, he says that righteousness will dwell. I know righteousness is kind of like I don't know, it's kind of like a churchy word. I don't know if you go to church or not, or a Bible word. I don't know if you read the Bible or not, but like righteousness is not really a word that we use a lot. But what it means is that the Creator designed things to work a certain way, and that when he's going to come back, he's going to right all the things that are wrong about the way that we're living. I mean, we've given this free will to live this certain way, and that one day he's going to set all of that right. And in the new creation, righteousness will dwell, only things that are right with God. And here's the problem, and this is the problem of your life, whether you realize it or not. It's the problem of my life, and it will continue to be the problem of your life until you like completely address it. Okay? Because of your sin, you are not right with God. You're not right with him. You're not right with the design in which he designed you. You've chosen poorly. I have chosen poorly. The only way to experience living in that new creation, in the true end of all things, is to believe in Jesus. To put all of your sin on him, he takes it. To put all of his goodness on you, he gives it. Like that is the good news of Jesus. This is the true ending of all things. And it's my true ending and it's your true ending. And we can rely on that. We can have confidence that this old earth is going to pass away, and that a new creation is going to come where righteousness dwells. We can have confidence in that because of the resurrection of Jesus. And the evidence for the resurrection of Jesus is so strong. Because the resurrection happened, we can trust in the claims of Jesus. We can trust in who he is, and that he says he is going to return, and that the Creator will come and judge his creation. And knowing this true ending, knowing that this is going to happen, that this is your ending, that this one day will happen, and having confidence that on that day, you will be welcomed into that new creation because of your trust in Jesus. Here's the amazing thing that happens. It begins to produce happiness in this life. When you know the true ending and you have confidence in how the ending will end for you, you can have happiness now in even the hardest times of your life because, well, you know how the story is going to end. So to what end are you moving? And more than that, what has your attention right now? I mean, over and over again, we lose sight of what is important and what isn't. And oftentimes we chase things that turn out to be meaningless. What has your attention? We move in the direction of what holds our attention. Are you moving in the direction to the ending of all things? This is so important, because when you have confidence in that, you can have happiness in this life.
We can make sure we finish what we started, but I feel real good about where we are, but I don't want you to take all your foot off the gas. I think we're in a wonderful, wonderful place.